Howdy y'all, Charlie here. Welcome to my channel. Today starts the first in a series called Fur Scholars. In this series, we're going to take a look at various scholarly works written about furries. I'm going to offer my own comments on it, as well as highlight why it's important. This series is for anyone interested in furries, or who's interested in what researchers are saying about them, or us. So today, we are looking at Emily Satinsky and Denise Nicole Green's Negotiating Identities in the Furry Fandom Through Costuming, published in Critical Studies in Men's Fashions, Volume 3, Number 2 in 2016. In this article, these researchers are interested in how costuming, or fursuiting, enables furries the ability to explore, transform, and perform certain identities. Right? So like when I'm in fursuit, I'm able to sort of explore different aspects of myself or certain identities that I might not be able to out of suit or without other furries. To do this study, these researchers employ ethnographic methods, traveling to Furpocalypse and Further Confusion, as well as doing interviews with furries at their home institutions. They seek to add to the existing body of research done on furries up to that point, mostly through fur science, by adding qualitative data, so like interviews and whatnot. After defining terms like fursuit, fursona, and handlers, the researchers talk about how conventions are brief instances of a culture that exists mostly online. They also talk about the gap of research on conventions in general. In the lit review, the authors talk about the gap in research on furries in general. Up to that point, there is mostly fur science as well as a survey conducted by Alex Osaki, all of which are mostly demographic in nature. The authors mention that the specific appeal of anthropomorphism and the motivations for dressing up and convening at conventions remain to be better understood. The way we dress is a way to express ourselves, but it has to be intelligible to the culture around us. The authors state that when furries put on their animal costumes, they hide their human identity and skate into their animal performance. This type of costuming has very positive effects, creating almost a sort of utopia in convention spaces, or kind of in the furry fandom more broadly. As mentioned before, the researchers did work in the field, such as surveys which revealed the diversity of sexual orientation and gender identity within the fandom. The fandom is demographically very queer, or LGBTQ+. The following sections discuss the results of the work, including interviews where people are talking about the fandom or fursuiting more specifically. For instance, a participant named Linz found fursuiting to be like alcohol, as a way to release inhibitions. Shelby says something similar, saying fursuiting allows shy furries to be more outgoing. Kova said wearing a fursuit is a way to sort of find yourself too. The authors go on to talk about the pluses of being in fandom, especially how welcome it is for queer LGBTQ+ identifying folks. However, the fandom is still very male dominated, meaning that there might be some male bias. To account for this, participants say that the fandom allows male participants to shed societal expectations of gender, allowing them to explore marginalized sexual identities as well as explore femininity that they may not be able to do outside of the fandom. All this together, the authors show that through the process of costuming, individuals explore and express identities. They act in a variety of human-animal ways, pressure the gender binary, and explore with artistic and creative abandon. Fursuits are a pretty cool way to explore new identities, or explore yourself, in other words. Now, this article is very important because it takes fursuiting seriously. This research helps us understand why we like fursuiting so much and why it's such an important thing that we do. Fursuiting allows a lot of folks to be outgoing in ways that they might not be able to otherwise. For some people, it allows them to explore different gender identities or to break out of certain gender norms. In a certain sense, fursuiting can be kind of like drag, a way to break out of gender norms through performance. Additionally, the fursuiters now have data that will be very useful for future researchers in understanding fursuiting, analyzing furry conventions, or furries more broadly moving forward. Ultimately, this article is an excellent contribution to the study of furries. However, there are certain elements where I think further inquiry could be beneficial. For instance, the researchers talk about the wealth of diversity in the fandom, but limit it to sexual and gender identity. Here, I think a discussion of race would be important. How does costuming play a part in race or perceptions of race? How are certain costumes or species racialized? The fandom is generally open to people with marginalized sexual orientations and gender identities, but how does it treat people from various racial and ethnic backgrounds? Additionally, and if y'all know me, you probably know what I'm going to say already, I think a more robust discussion of aesthetic interest would further strengthen the analysis given here. At the end of the conclusion, the authors talk about cuteness, saying, the cute factor of animals brings about a sense of understanding, love, and empathy to a group who may be lacking it and seeking it out. Furries generally like cute things, so I'd be interested in seeing more about how the interest in cuteness initially brings furries together, and if that is the primary aesthetic or affect driving their, or I guess our, community formation. All in all, I find this article to be an excellent contribution to the study of furries, and I find its insights to be very valuable in how we understand fursuiting and its importance in our fandom. I hope you guys like my summary and sort of interaction with the article. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider donating to Indigenous efforts, link in the doobly-doo. So yeah, first in the series, I hope you guys enjoy it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!